Hey, it's JP Dunphy, your BMW genius here at BMW Fort Washington. So, you're interested in potentially getting a plug-in hybrid from BMW. Well, right now I'm currently inside the X5 45e, and I'm going to go over some of the reasons why I think that's a fantastic move for you to do. So let's start by just going over some of the technology, reasons that BMW is probably the leader in this, and, why this is a great car. So with that, let's get started. Starting off with just the basics, wherever you get in, you'll notice everywhere it has this nice blue BMW electric accent. It's on the wheels, it's on the front emblem, it's right here on the inside, as well as little bits of blue all throughout here and your e-drive right there. Now, that obviously doesn't have much to do with the physical capabilities of the car, but in terms of just, knowing this is a BMW that is plug-in hybrid, it's just fun to know. So, one of the reasons that's especially good, BMW's digital key is still here. This little key right here acts as a secondary key for your car itself. So you get your main keys, you get this key, as well as you can make your iPhone into a key as well. So you don't actually have to carry one of the physical key fobs with you. So, you get these keys anytime you want, normal BMW key, digital key, and then you can make your phone into a key as well. That's one of the main reasons to get it. Therefore, if you ever have one of those little tiny wallets you stick on the back of your phone, you don't have to worry about, keeping your key on you. Your key is part of your phone. Or if you make your phone to the key itself, you don't have to worry about any of that. Just bring your phone with you. So the way that one works, you simply touch the phone to the outside door handle and then put your phone on this little pad right here, and it'll start up the car just like normal. Put your phone on the brake and hit start. Another thing that's going to make this especially useful and helpful, you have multiple modes down here that'll be able to help you get the most out of your driving experience. If you want to do some other videos that are on YouTube, right here, I can leave a little link to that over here in the corner here. But the main ones, I'll just do a quick overview of all those together. So, of course, it starts in hybrid mode every single time. If you touch it again, another mode that you get, actually, let me just turn this on so I can show you exactly what we're looking at. I know, short range. So you have your hybrid mode, Eco Pro hybrid mode, which will basically be even more geared towards all of your electric driving. You have a full electric mode, which will use all the electric that you have that's inside the car and only run off that electric motor and electric battery range that you have. That can be up to 30 miles. I've seen as high as 32 as long as you have a level 2 charger and can, charge it at home, as well as preconditioning the battery. But bottom line of that, it's fantastic. Now, one thing that you will notice is as you're driving around and you look at the main range options that you'll see, sometimes you'll look at the range itself and say, well, the range on this is less than the normal 40i for the X5. Why on earth would I get this over the 40i? Well, here's the main thing to think about. With the 40i, you only have your gas, all right? You fill it up with gas, you use it, you get the range. With anytime you have a plug-in hybrid, assuming you drive less than 30 miles, which is, the electric range in this, and you're using only electric in this, that means that you have never touched your gas. You get home, you plug in, the next day you have that exact same range again. So you are basically set every single time. Every single time you plug in, you add 30 miles to your trip. 30 miles, 30 miles, 30 miles. So for that almost 100 miles, that's the main difference between the range when you get into a 40 versus a 45e. That basically gets completely made up within 3 days of just plugging in your car to begin with. So you actually, at the end of a 30 days of ownership, you probably are using significantly less gas. Unless you're driving over 300 miles a day, you're not going to really need your gas anyway. Most people, the average driver, only drives 25 miles a day. So, that's even me right now. I drive 14 miles to work, 14 miles back. Every now and then I do some extra. I still drive under 30 miles a day. So that means, because I can charge at work and I charge at home, I'm going to make the most out of my trip just by simply getting in, plugging in, and having that level 2 charger option. Now, one other thing to add, you do have a level 1 temporary charger that comes in the trunk itself. I'll show you that in just a second. In the back, that basically can plug into any normal 110 outlet. That does take longer to fully charge your battery, especially if you deplete the whole thing, but you always have that with you. Going back to your drive modes down here, if you're ever on a long drive and you're like, well, I want to save my electric, or I want to charge my car and not use anything electric, I just want to use the gas for, say, a long highway trip, you have a battery save mode right here, which will basically just use your normal driving to, charge up your battery. And then, of course, you have Sport, which uses both gas and electric, all together giving you the most possible power. Adaptive is an option that you can use your onboard navigation to basically work with the car's brain itself to find out when it would be, the best time to use gas, electric, or a combination of the two. So if you ever have a long trip, put something in the navigation right here, hit it onto adaptive, and it's going to automatically switch between the ones as you go along your daily trip. So that's all your drive modes right there. Another reason that's really fun, you get the air suspension as standard in your plug-in hybrid for the X5 45e. So that means that you can raise and lower the car by 2.5 inches up and down from its standard position. That's always fun and helpful to have, right? Because who doesn't want to make the most out of all their driving trips? I know. Lowest charge. There's almost no charge in this thing right now. Anywho, let's take a little quick trip outside and show you something else. So on the outside here, right here on the front side, so here's the front fender. This is ready to charge up. That's going to be your J1772 plug. You can plug that in at just about anything that's not a Tesla charger. That'll be found all throughout the country. You have Electrify America, lots of companies that are doing their best to expand the charging network. And right here on the trunk, this is your temporary charger. So this little guy has that J1772 plug that is currently covered by that. This is what you'll basically find out, be able to plug in. That gives you level 1 and level 2 charging all the time. Now, the nice thing is, as long as you're plugged into one of those, you are going to be totally set for wherever you want to go. Another reason that is fantastic to get into your plug-in hybrids is if you're not ready to make the full jump to, full electric, and you don't want to pay as much for gas. So it has a smaller tank in the back, specifically to make sure that it has room for all the extra battery that's in there. Another thing that's really helpful for it, you do qualify, as long as your taxes qualify for it, for the $7,500 tax credit. Why? Because the size of the battery still qualifies you for that bigger tax credit. And if the Build Back Better plan actually goes through anytime soon, with the provisions that was in it when it went to the Senate, then that means that you might even go up to $12,000 tax credit. Another little thing about this that makes it especially fun, so as you know, it has all-wheel drive. Unlike other systems, which basically electrify either one axle or another, this one basically puts its electric engine inside the transmission itself. So it basically sits right in the middle, right in here. So what happens is, if you want to drive it in electric mode, it still has all-wheel drive. You want to drive it with gas, it's all-wheel drive. You want to do both together, it's all-wheel drive. You never lose any of the capabilities of an electric vehicle or just the normal BMW award-winning engine that's in there in the first place. Another great thing about this current one, the 45E, as opposed to the previous generation 40E, is you actually move up to the 6-cylinder turbo. So it's that newer B58 engine. It gets all the accolades, all the award-winning stuff that BMW is known for in it, and you don't have to worry about any of, crappy engines. You're not giving up a bigger engine for the gas just to have more efficiency with it. This one has more efficiency, better aerodynamic, less drag, and most importantly of all, you get 30 miles of range. I know I said that twice already, but it's kind of a big deal for a plug-in hybrid. Usually plug-in hybrids max out between 15 and 25. This one gets 30 miles of range. So, you can really, really make this out to be a great daily driver, whether you have road trips, whether you have just around town stuff. This is the perfect car for that, especially if you don't want to spend as much time at the gas pump. So it's the perfect blend of everything you could ever need for a daily driver. I drove a plug-in hybrid before this. I actually have a plug-in hybrid I gave it to my wife. I drive an all-electric car myself. I had a Mini Cooper SE. Now I have a Tesla Model 3 S, or a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, so just rear-wheel drive. And again, just the usability of this car especially is really, it's really something else. You know, again, I really want to stress the big deal is, as long as you have a level 2 charger, that's a 240 volt charging system. You can use a drier one if you have the ability at home. There's plenty of public charging stations. Just as an idea, compared to Dunkin' Donuts has I think something like 20 or 40,000. I can't remember if it's 20 or 40,000. I'll have to look into it exactly what it was. But I know that for every Dunkin' Donuts that there is in the United States, there are 6 electric charging units right now on the road. You can simply use any of the apps that are available right now. ChargePoint's a great app, Electrify America, and you can look up level 2 chargers, public. Some of them are charged, some of them are free. You usually pay by the kilowatt. And or by time. It kind of changes. It's variable between where you might get it from, but again, it's an extremely usable car. You know, you're going to be paying a lot less in maintenance with this car over time. You're going to be getting much better gas mileage over time. A good friend of mine who actually had the previous generation, so that was the X5 40E, that was the old 4-cylinder turbo instead of the 6-cylinder. She was able to go 1,100 miles before ever filling up the tank of gas again. Now, my wife with the Mini Countryman plug-in hybrid, that one's an even smaller amount. That's not as much covered. Basically, with that is she basically gets 14 miles of electric only range, right? It's not a whole lot. She has a 9-gallon gas tank. It's basically a little over 200 miles of range if she basically filled up full electric and then full gas and then just drove. But we got 1,400 miles out of one 9-gallon tank of gas since the moment she got the car. She only had to refill this past summer because we went to Avalon, New Jersey and came back home. That's 200 miles. So that's the only reason why we had to fill up. And she actually has been on the same tank of gas since then. So and that's a 14-mile range electric range car. So this one has 30 miles of electric range, which means that you can go further. And on top of that, you know, as long as you buy it instead of lease it, you can qualify for that tax credit. So again, if you're thinking about this car, I highly suggest doing it. It's really hard to beat it, especially if you don't want to make the full jump to the iX or the i4 coming out. It's a hard combination to beat. You know, it's a fantastic car, great engine, and you know, just something to look into. So hopefully this helps. If you had any questions, you know, please feel free to leave it in the comment. I'll answer any questions that you might have that I know the answer to, and we'll go from there. With that, thanks so much for being with me. Have a great rest of your day.